Good afternoon. It's Monday, January 14. I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. The soldier who was shot in the head in Mandeville on Friday night during an altercation with other persons has died. It's reported that the soldier, who is co-owner of a car mart in Mandeville, was involved in an altercation with several persons at the establishment when explosions were heard. He was later found with gunshot wounds and was rushed to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. A businessman is facing murder charges in relation to the New Year's Day killing of Omar Johnson on Peyton Place in Augustown. The businessman has been identified as 32-year-old Marvin Markland, otherwise called Papa, of Goldsmith Villa in Kingston. Mr. Markland has been charged with murder, illegal possession of firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition. 34-year-old Omar Johnson was killed around 8 a.m. on January 1. Mr. Johnson was reportedly walking along a roadway in his community when he was attacked by men armed with high-powered rifles who shot him several times. The police in Portland say 2019 should see a reduction in crime figures, even though 2018 numbers are almost the same when compared with 2017. Data from the Portland division revealed that there was one less violent crime and a 25% reduction in the number of break-ins when compared with 2017. There was also a decrease in the number of reported robberies and larceny cases in the parish for 2018.
There were some crimes that showed an increase. Murder by 7, shootings by 4, as there was no incident of shooting in the previous year, 2017. Aggravated assaults, that includes serious wounding matters, by 2. And finally, rape by 2.
However, Assistant Superintendent in charge of operations for Portland, Troyville Horton, said through increased partnerships, crime figures are expected to decrease in 2019.
We have put our heads together, and there is an intensification in the efforts to really dominate the public spaces, to analyze the situation as closely as possible, to reach out to the community and to be as available as we possibly can. And of course, we cannot do our jobs as efficiently and effectively as we'd love to if we do not have the support from everyone inside here and other members of the community.
ASP Horton was addressing a municipal corporation monthly meeting held in Port Antonio recently. A reported lack of communication on the part of the Victoria Jubilee Hospital in Kingston has left the father of the child who was abducted from the facility last week suspicious of the hospital. The newborn was reportedly taken from the hospital by a woman on Wednesday morning. A security guard was missing from his post when the baby went missing. In an interview with our news center last night, the child's father, Sinclair Hutton, said the hospital has not been communicating with them since the incident.
Nobody from Jubilee. Not even a soul from Jubilee. Nobody from Jubilee. I don't hear a word from Jubilee. Nobody no call my phone. Nobody no call my baby mother phone from Jubilee. Nothing. Like they have something hiding. Nothing at all I don't hear about my baby born. But there, baby born, and come out, and she come out, no baby. And nobody not say anything. Nothing at all.
Mr. Hutton has threatened to take legal action against Victoria Jubilee. However, he says his focus at the moment is on finding his child. Workers at Duns River Falls in St. Anne are speaking out this afternoon following a damning audit which pointed to a massive ticket sale fraud at the attraction. The audit report also uncovered fraud control failures, financial misstatements, insufficient processes, and gaps in information technology controls. But as TVJ's O'Shane Masters reports, the issues at the St. Anne-based attraction seem far deeper.
The government is being blamed for its lack of oversight into the operations of Duns River Falls and Park in St. Anne. Individuals who have been on the property for over 40 years say the writing has been on the wall for some time now, but no measures were put in place to fix the problems. Their identities are being withheld for fear of victimization.
The government takes so long to intervene in order to deal with this level of corruption, because this man has been there from the PMP party was in power, right? And we have been seeing this type of operation, right? And to have this man working under the People National Party administration come back over under the Jamaica Labour Party administration, it's really ring a bell.
Speaking with TVJ News last Tuesday, a worker at the attraction said they brought the matter to the attention of Chairman of the Urban Development Corporation, UDC, Ransford Braham. Among the issues, a worker operating his personal businesses through the Urban Development Corporation's shops, which were designated to sell Duns River branded items.
Bringing in one private investment and having one business running on government property. Government don't know where them the money they go or where them come from. Him come there to assist the government to make sure the place run properly and run it orderly. He didn't see an opportunity where there's no oversight committee to watch him. So him do as him wish.
However, TVJ News has learned that the worker is no longer with the company. This was confirmed by the UDC. As it relates to the misappropriation of funds, the workers had this question.
How can money slip through without he seen?
The workers are therefore calling for a deeper investigation into the affairs of the Sentan-based property. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Chief Executive Officer of the National Works Agency, NWA, E.G. Hunter, has admitted that the government still has challenges acquiring lands for road improvement projects. He was speaking at a recent sitting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC.
There are still some landowners who, for a variety of reasons, have compelled us to go to compulsory acquisition rather than private treaty, and that in itself takes some time. We still have enduring issues with some of the utilities in terms of the relocation and the relocation costs and the impact that that has on our schedule.
PAAC member Juliet Holness also had other questions.
You are required to take adverse possession. Do people necessarily get more? Because I think some people hold out because they either want more than market value or they want more money. So number one, do you pay market value or do you pay a percentage of market value?
So it is the National Land Agency as the stewards for the Land Acquisition Act that does all the negotiations or whatever. We assist as we go along. It is significantly more efficient, Member Holness, for people to enter into private treaty for the disposal of the land. The valuations are done by the NLA. The Minister of Finance has given us the money. We are ready and prepared to make the payment.
We go down to news overseas. In the United Kingdom, it's crunch time for Theresa May's Brexit strategy. But a likely defeat for her in a House of Commons vote Tuesday could send the future of the UK's withdrawal down any of several different paths. The details from the CNN.
The sun rising and setting are just about the only sure things at Westminster nowadays. But defeat in Parliament for Theresa May's Brexit deal on Tuesday is almost as certain. So what happens after that? The Prime Minister would have to return to the House of Commons days later with an amended plan. Perhaps after yet another breathless trip to Brussels. For now, she insists her deal is the only one on offer. There are now basically three possible outcomes. Number one, perhaps with enough amendments, assurances and strong arming of MPs, May's deal for a close continued relationship with the EU will pass, eventually. Right now, the parliamentary arithmetic is not very encouraging. Two, maybe there'll be no coalition for anything and Britain will simply fall out of the European Union with no deal on the 29th of March, ushering in a period of acute uncertainty. That's the option backed by hardline Brexiteers on the Conservative benches. And the third option is everyone takes fright and can't agree on anything, so they kick the entire exit process into the long grass. That would involve an extension of Article 50, which would also need the agreement of all 27 EU states, far from a given. Ministers continue to insist that if the agreed-on text with Brussels is rejected, Britain enters uncharted waters.
We can no longer assume that by rejecting this deal there will be a better shade of Brexit. And what is more likely if this deal is rejected is that we have the risk of Brexit paralysis.
And still overseas, only one person has survived a deadly plane crash that killed 15 people in the Middle East. The cargo plane belonging to the Iranian army crashed on Monday morning. 16 persons were on board the flight. Reports are that around 8:30 the plane caught fire after skidding off the runway west of Tehran. The director of Iran's aviation organization said he could not confirm whether or not the pilot has survived. The army says the plane was carrying meat to Iran. And we go now to news in sports. Minister of Sports Olivia Grange says, contrary to reports, the government is in talks with the Jamaica Tallawahs to support their participation in this year's staging of the Caribbean Premier League tournament set for August 21 to September 27.
Minister Grange's disclosure comes days after the Tallawahs' ownership made it clear they would not be taking the Tallawahs franchise to Florida, as was reported in some quarters, but called on the government for their support. But while noting they were willing to assist, Minister Grange says the government cannot provide the over US $1.5 million requested by the Tallawahs.
The truth is that as minister, I am in discussions with the Tallawahs and hope to find a way to give some support as I stretch the little that we have. The Tallawahs need, ladies and gentlemen, in excess of $1 million each year for the next 3 years. We cannot find that.
And as for the government not supporting the Tallawahs financially in 2018, as it had done in 2015 and 2017, Minister Grange explained that this was as a result of a late request made by the Tallawahs after the national budget had been settled. She also revealed that even Prime Minister Andrew Holness has stepped in to find support for the Tallawahs' participation this summer.
I must tell you, we went as far as having the Prime Minister himself set up a meeting, arrange a meeting with the Tallawahs and a private entity in Jamaica. An entity which also has an international connection. And meetings were held, several meetings were held. And unfortunately, just maybe a couple weeks ago, the Tallawahs were told that this company is unable to assist. We're all disappointed.
Meanwhile, Minister Grange is calling on the private sector to help fill the shortfall needed by the Tallawahs to keep the franchise and their games in Jamaica.
So, Jamaica Tallawahs do well, and they bring visitors to Jamaica by staging the games here and all of that. Private sector will do well also. So I think private sector here in Jamaica should come on board and give the support, partner with government, and give the support that is needed to ensure that games can be played in Jamaica.
In 2015, the Jamaican government provided financial support of US $25,000 and in 2017, US $35,000 to the Tallawahs.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Please join us at 7 for a very special primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.